This is the Football Podcast with your hosts, Tyler, Andy, and Boyer.
Welcome back to Fantasy Football Podcast, presented by, once again, two of your performance-enhancing dads. What's happening, Andy?
Not a lot. How's your new setup over there? Actually having internet?
Yeah. So I'm at the office right now. I got two screens. I got a nice little whiteboard in the background, so it doesn't look like I'm in my garage because I'm not. I've got internet. I can pull stuff up. It's nice. It's just not going to be my setup every week yet. So whatever.
I'm proud of you. It
might be coming. It's so much nicer. But anyway, Boyer is off tonight due to a insurance exam, it sounds like, coming up tomorrow. So he decided he wanted to study or something. Nothing like last minute. What we're going to do tonight is we are going to have at least two guests on, maybe three, pending Colin and his return home from Italy. So we will let them on when they get here. They're going to have about a 10-minute time frame, give or take. And we'll talk to them about some of their playoffs, how they feel, who they want to play, who they don't want to play, that type of stuff, ask them some questions. So that's how we're going to kind of lay things up. So there we go. Andy, you want to jump us into last week and how we're going to run things?
Sure.
Or not how we're going to run things. How bad I did last week?
You tried, but I'm going to give you bonus points for trying. You picked different from Boyer 4 times, but Boyer got all 4 of those right. So it didn't work out for you.
No.
But what are you going to do? You had to shoot your shot, and I'm proud of you for that. Fryer beat Robbie. Colin did not beat Chris. We all picked both of those, Fryer and Colin. So after that, Ty, you picked Charlie and yourself and me and Duo. None of those people won. So Boyer got 5 right. I got 4, and you only got 1.
Sorry for any of you that I picked last week. My bad.
That puts you at 45 wins on the year, and me and Boyer tied at 53. So it all comes down to this week for me and Boyer.
So I'm out?
You are very out. You're eight wins back.
Just like Chris and Charlie after last week.
Yeah, well, if Chris finds a way to outscore Paul by, 142.56, maybe. There's a window there. If you look at the highest score ever and the lowest score ever, there's a window. I did cross Chris's name off of the board there, though.
I see that.
Yeah, that's.
I like your new setup, though. I like to see your trophy up close since you have it for another handful of weeks.
No, I have this until the draft. We don't exchange the trophy until the draft. But yeah, it's effectively out of my hands at this point since I cannot reclaim it this year. But the way things are going, the way I think most of us are projecting this, I think there's a 3 and 4 chance that a new name gets on the trophy this year, which is what I'm cheering for.
Yeah. So since you took a sip, let's talk about that. What are you drinking tonight, man?
Not water, although I do have my water too. So
that's all right.
Drinking Sam Adams Winter Lager. It's pretty good. Festive and smooth is what the bottle says. So I'll go right along with their advertising. Festive and smooth.
Just take that advertising money and run with it, right?
Yeah, I wish. You are not drinking alcohol because you're at church.
I'm at my work office, so here I am drinking a Mountain Dew. Don't judge me. This is my weight loss goal. Cut this out.
It says here I am. XL on the cup. Does that mean anything?
No. Nope. Doesn't mean anything.
All right.
So, all right. Well, so our first guest is here, ready to log on.
Woot woot.
So as he gets in, we're going to start with Mr. Paul Remiliotis, and we'll drill him a little bit. Maybe.
Might not.
We might get him.
What's up, Paul?
There he is. What's happening?
What up?
Paul's on the beach.
As he should
I'm on the
be.
beach again.
Celebrating a playoff appearance. How's that feel, bud?
Feels great.
Been a few years.
It's a long time coming.
Hey, Paul. Just out of curiosity, do you remember what places you might have finished in the playoffs recently, or?
Recently or over
Oh,
time?
right. Yeah. 2017 was your most recent. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh man. I know about my second place finish. I think it was the first or second year in the league.
Yeah,
Second
second
year, yeah.
year. 2012, you got second. You
And in
made playoffs.
2013, you got
Yeah,
second. You got third.
I
Uh-huh.
know. I always have that on my
And then
resume. So
2014, you were there again,
I
You got
was there again.
fourth.
and you got fourth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
2017,
first-
you were there again. So you've been there 4 times.
I've been here before, but then I just like forgot how to do fantasy. But I think I remembered again this year. I mean, I had some help having, 223 draft dollars. But yeah.
And all your draft dollars for the next couple of years, but it's fine.
Hey, he invested that into this season. I think it's working for him.
That's right.
I did.
So-
By the way, really quickly, we all have different backgrounds. What's happening?
We just went over it. I'm at work, so that's hence why I've got a whiteboard behind me, so it doesn't look
Got
like
it.
an office.
Got
Yep.
it. Okay.
And I
And this is Andy's
rearranged.
new setup.
Yeah, we're working on decorating the place. So if you wanted to buy me things out of my Amazon cart, check the link below. That's what all
Yeah.
the pretty girls do, right?
Yeah.
So, we're working on decorating here, but I got my nice little corner here set up with me and Chris and
Charlie.
Nick Offerman
Oh.
over there. So
Love it.
yeah, we're hanging out.
So Paul, I got first question. Do you have a drink on you tonight, or are we not drinking anything?
I do actually.
I gotta know what you're drinking.
It's not a very exciting drink, but it is to me because I live off of Cool Blue Gatorade. It's literally blending in because of my background. I got Cool Blue Gatorade on the rocks. So yeah, that is my go-to drink all day, every day.
All right,
Nothing
fair,
Exciting, but that's my
fair
drink.
enough. I'm at the office, so I'm on Mountain Dew. Andy's finally on a beer tonight, so good for Andy.
No water?
I
Oh, he's
also
got
have the
that too.
water. Yeah, don't
Oh,
worry.
okay.
He's got it.
Don't worry.
Perfect.
His chaser's there.
Got it.
So let's start with a couple of your trades here. Let's talk about you getting Chubba Hubbard and AJ Dillon kind of at the right time on both
Exactly
of those
the
trades.
right time. Yeah.
Literally exactly the right time. It was weird because I wasn't I drafted McCaffrey, obviously, didn't get Chuba. I like doing handcuffs, but I didn't know if Chuba was going to be the handcuff for sure because he was a rookie and you never know. So he was always on my radar from Andy, and happened to acquire him at the right time because then McCaffrey goes down that very week, and then I needed him the next week, so it worked out perfectly. And I think the same thing happened with AJ Dillon too. I also tried to go after him. Well, kind of. I didn't bid on him during the draft because he went really high. So he was always on my radar too. And then I think it all worked out again because I think I needed him the next week or 2 weeks after.
And you had talked to me for 3 weeks about AJ Dillon. I'm like, I'm not selling him. I'm not selling him. Okay, fine, I'll sell him. And then Jones goes down, and I'm like, son of a gun.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
And even with Jones, he's a solid fantasy guy if I ever needed him. I mean, I don't really need him, but if I did, I'd be totally okay playing Jones and Dillon if 3 of my running backs were hurt or on COVID or whatever. So
right. It's kind of like Andy's chunt over there,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So it worked for
out
me for
perfectly.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So thanks to both of you guys for both of those players.
Yeah.
We got you.
We're looking out for you this year, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. I really needed to bump my my rankings up in the managerial rankings because I was pretty low this past off season. So
Sure.
just trying to go up to top 6.
I mean, we just hit on it. You've only made the playoffs once since 2014, but here you are, and scary team. Paul, I know you would like to, pick yourself to win here, but who are you the most afraid of potentially matching up with in the playoffs? Who do you think has the best shot to knock you out?
Best shot to knock me out, I think, is for sure Jeremy. His starting lineup is just stacked. Especially if we face each other and Tyler Lockett happens to have his like 20 to 25 point game. It's like, and that's for sure going to happen. If we face each other, Tyler Lockett's for sure getting that 20 point game. But Jeremy is definitely the team that scares me the most. I'm a little bit scared about Colin and Fryer, but not as much though. Chris too, but Jeremy, I look at his team and I get like chills down my entire body. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, Kyler Murray being back healthy makes his team pretty formidable top to bottom. So I do not envy you having to match up with him.
Yeah.
But Jeremy's probably going to be the 1 seed, so make sure you win against Colin this week, and you won't have to face him until the championship because he'll play the wild card.
I know.
So that's what you're playing for, not to have to play Jeremy next week.
Well, so I didn't look at how potentially the matchups are going to work starting next week. But the person that I would want to face would probably be Robbie. I'm sorry, like I'm so sorry, Robbie, but like your team does not scare me at all, which definitely means that you're gonna beat me somehow. But Robbie's team does not scare me for a second. If he had Derrick Henry, he would. But I look at Robbie's team and I'm like, that's the team we're gonna throw out for the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Robbie.
And if we're being fair, Robbie's team is a decent team, but for how much all of the playoff teams bought, like I'm looking at you projected for 122 this week. I'm looking at Colin at 119, and Jeremy and Fryer and Chris. Everybody's in the 1 teens, and Robbie's sitting here at 98. Like, yeah, I feel that you want Robbie in. I want Robbie out because I want Robbie to be in the consolation with me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, however, the sad part is though, because I did look at Robbie's team because I was like, if I'm going to talk smack about his team here on the podcast, I at least have to do my research. If Robbie makes the finals and I also make the finals, he's probably going to win or any team that he faces, because his matchups are so favorable that week. So it's like, Robbie actually has a chance at potentially winning it all if he can get by next week, obviously. And also, there could be a chance of Derrick Henry being back for the finals week. Maybe.
I mean, I'm hearing that too, but I don't know that I'm not excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not banking on it, but
I'm not either, but
yeah, I mean, but Robbie did put up a solid game the last, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, he had 1 solid game in the last like 6 weeks.
No, it was 3 weeks ago against me. Sorry, he put up 134.
Yeah, since week 7, that's his only game over 86 points. It was 134 against you, which didn't matter because you scored 59.
Well, I know, but that just seems to be my MO on the year anyway, so it doesn't really matter. He doesn't get to play me, so he doesn't get to put up those points. So Paul, real quick, if you don't mind, with who do you think is going to get out of that top division? Fryer or Robbie?
That's a great question. Let's go to this.
Just to lay out the scenario, I have to beat Robbie and Fryer has to beat Boyer for Fryer to make the playoffs. Both of those things have to happen.
And you're currently projected to win. Hold on, I need to go to this.
I was projected to win last week too, but what are you gonna do?
That's a great question. I mean, I'd have to really stop and analyze this. So okay, wait. So you need to beat Robbie, and Fryer needs to win
against Boyer.
So
I feel pretty good about that one. Yeah, it's down to me and Robbie.
Okay. Wait. So there's like, wait. I think I'm gonna go with Fryer winning the division.
Yeah.
Okay. I totally did not like. I haven't been paying attention about that division. I've been like solely focused on mine, obviously. Right. I didn't even know that was a scenario. So I'm gonna go with Fryer to win the division. Andy beats Robbie this week and Fryer wins.
Okay. So then what's going to happen with you this week? Are you going to get our division or are you going to lose to Colin?
I honestly don't entirely know. Like I think I'm gonna win this week. Only because I've mentally accepted that losing is just like not an option. So like I'm gonna be set up for failure if I lose this week because I'm like not expecting to lose. Like it's gonna be a tough matchup and like there's a decent chance that I will lose, but I'm just really confident right now. So I'm just hoping that we don't.
And the benefit is, even if you lose, you're going to get wild card unless Chris can outscore you by 140 points.
Yeah, that's also true.
You're in.
So
there's
so
also the scenario where Fryer could outscore you by 100 points. If he wins, he could squeak in at wild card 2 at 9-6, but it's just too many points. You'll be all right.
Yeah. I just really want to win the division. I just want to.
It's an extra like $40 or something in your payout. So
that's right.
As somebody who consistently wins wild card, I am very aware of the pay differential there.
Yeah.
So with that, looking at it being most likely, what you got predicted is Fryer, you, Colin, and Jeremy. What's your prediction on playoffs?
Okay, wait. So if that is let's map this out really quick.
So if it ends those 4, it would be you versus Fryer and Jeremy versus Colin.
Oh,
yeah, assuming you beat Colin this week. Whoever loses your matchup as the wild card would play Jeremy. The winner plays Fryer / Robbie.
Oh, okay. So I'm actually rooting for Robbie to win here.
Yeah.
Okay. Because man, if I'm facing Fryer the first round, man, that's not fun. My prediction was gonna be Jeremy beats me in the final. That's what I have. But I feel like that prediction could change based on how this week shapes out.
Sure.
Because I wouldn't be surprised too if I'm facing Fryer. Like Fryer absolutely has a team that could beat me and I could be out of the first round next week. So, but for now, I'll go with Jeremy over me in the final.
I like it. I like the humility of not picking yourself too.
Yeah.
It's good and honest. I think your team is super stacked, so
we'll see.
I mean,
we'll see.
At the same time, you can look. I mean, Fryer's had 2 really good weeks, the last 2, but before that he put up 42, 92, 91, 100, 88. I mean, so he also has very much a possibility to be 100 points, 88 to 100 points.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I'm not saying all of us aren't that way, right? I mean, there's that possibility any of us could do it. But if you can consistently be in that upper 90s, 100, 115 range, you're more than likely going to squeak out a win. But, who knows?
Yeah. Plus 2, what I don't like about Fryer's team is like Brady's a second half quarterback and like he's starting to heat up and like I feel like he's just going to put up like at least 25 to 30 points every single week. So if I'm facing him in the first round, I don't like that.
Yeah, you got to figure Brady's chasing that single season touchdown record at this point. I think he needs to average just over 3 touchdowns a week here on out. So that's a lot of touchdowns that he's got to be scoring, but Lord knows he can do it.
Right. Well, and he's got New Orleans, Carolina, and the Jets the next couple weeks. So, I mean, really, Brady doesn't have a tough schedule moving forward either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got a couple flaws in his lineup, though. If you look at it, he's got Terry McLaurin, which has been rough, and who the heck knows what this concussion looks like. I mean, Montgomery is mediocre. He had the 1 good week so far in the last 5. I mean, granted, Dalvin Cook, Kittle, and Connor and Tom Brady and Evans can carry that team.
For sure. Connor and Kittle both have been on fire lately.
Right. So, but I mean, at least you can see holes in that lineup to where you're like, all right, I feel that there's that opportunity to win that matchup.
Right.
I know. It's just, it's really tough because like I obviously really like my team a lot. As weird as it sounds, it's like one person that really scares me is Aaron Jones. Like I can't have him put up like 3 or 4 points and then have AJ Dillon put up like 15 points on my bench. Like I need Aaron Jones to perform. Um, I don't know. I'm honestly at like the point where I'm taking everything like week by week. I'm not even looking ahead at this point because I feel like there are so many scenarios. So I'm just focused on beating Colin this week, and then who knows what's going to happen next week. I mean, there might be injuries that we need to account for, so we'll see.
Speaking of injuries, do you have any concern about Josh Allen at this point, or you think he's going to be good to go the rest of the year?
I don't know. I'm actually in the process of thinking about if I want to pick up a backup quarterback. I mean, I probably will.
Not a lot out there.
Yeah, I know. There's not a lot out there. That's why I think he's going to be fine. Mainly because the Bills need him to be fine, like for a
Right.
playoff push. So
Mhm.
I think he's going to play. I'm not really worried about his production. The thing that scares me the most is I don't want his foot injury to take away from some of those like rushing yards that he has. But I'm totally okay with like him not having 30 to 35 point weeks. I just need him to get me like 18 to 20 and I'll be
Right.
happy, you know.
Don't shit the bed.
Just don't shit the bed. That's
Right.
it.
The last thing you need is him to be Lamar last week and going out with like 1.8 points early in the game and being your downfall.
Right. Right.
So
Debo has to stay healthy too.
Mm-hmm.
Not worried
Elijah
about
Mitchell coming back healthy would be big.
Elijah Mitchell. I pray that Gronk stays healthy, but I do have a solid alternative if I need to go that route.
I mean,
Antonio Gibson. I think Antonio Gibson's going to be fine too. I haven't even
Yeah, really,
matchups yet,
Debo.
but I'm not worried about it.
Debo's the spot that you're probably most worried about because you don't want to have to play Metcalf right now, which is wild to say, but like Metcalf is more boom and bust than Lockett because he's not even getting volume. You're just relying on that touchdown to come in. So if Debo tweaks something and you have to start Metcalf, I mean, there's worse spots to be, but it's still not where you want to be compared to what you've been doing all year with. I mean, Debo and Cup are number 1 and number 2 at wide receiver this year. That's been your huge advantage, and if you can ride that through the playoffs, you're going to look good.
Right. I agree. I don't want to play Metcalf if I don't have to. I feel like he's low key the new Tyler Lockett.
Right.
Hey, listen, I was saying that all last year that I didn't like DK and he did well, and now I'm saying I don't like Lockett, and now DK sucks. So I don't know.
Don't listen to Tyler. That is the rule of thumb.
Oh man,
There you go.
That's how it works. So, all right. Anything else from you, Paul?
No. Ty, you still suck. I love you, but you still suck.
Listen, I asked for you to be in my division over Walker, and this is what I get. So
I know.
I deserve every bit of it.
I know. I will say being in your division is really fun. Like I love the trash talk we have going on. Love how competitive our division is. We'll see if I'm thinking the same thing next year and then the next year. But
It gets
And
old
me and
after
Andy-
10
Me and
years.
Andy were talking. Me and Andy were talking earlier, and I had full intent to buy this year, full intent to be good, but my luck went way downhill early, and I just said, "Screw it, I got to move on." I mean, with you and Chris and Colin all taking off, there was such a long shot for me to make playoffs at that point that it was like, do I buy and hope for the best, or do I sell? You know.
I actually
So-
do feel really bad for your team because your team scared me the most out of anybody going into the season. It was up there. And that just really, I mean, you just hate to see it, but I mean, I won't complain.
Yeah, I'm sure. Listen, at this point, I just became free wins, which is good for you guys.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
all right, man. Well, we appreciate you jumping on. We'll see how the next couple weeks go, and good luck. So,
Yep. Good luck, Paul. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.
we'll see you.
All right, see you guys.
Thought your team was good. What the hell's that guy know?
Listen, everybody should just assume my team's bad. So
We all know your team's gonna get hurt, even if they have good stats. Like, yeah, you can have Saquon and Tyreek, but when they don't have hamstrings, they're not getting any points.
Yeah, I mean, listen. CD had a couple good weeks after I got rid of him. Hills had some good weeks after I got rid of him. It's just how it works, you know?
Yeah. Hey, Ty, looking at Yahoo's draft day projections, you were supposed to be 11-4. How's that feel?
Yep. We just flipped it. Yahoo doesn't know what they're talking about. They have not learned the Tyler curse yet to just automatically project me low.
Yep. They had you with the second most points behind Paul, so next time try to keep up.
If only, man.
Right.
Sometimes Yahoo gets it right. Sometimes, they're way off.
Yeah.
I don't think they account for me being a big seller when I start to lose either.
That's probably true.
So let's jump. We got Jeremy coming on here in a minute. Colin Kelly just got back from Italy. He said he's going to zonk out for the night, so he's out. Robbie's got some tests to study for because he's taking some prereqs to get a higher education. And then Fryer backed out because he's got a work project deadline to meet tomorrow. I don't know. It sounds like everybody's just procrastinating a little bit. And like, not that you didn't know that 9 o'clock was going to be podcast time. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No, I didn't want you guys anyway.
It sounds like these people are not adequately prepared for playoffs if they're not focused on fantasy football at this point. So
right.
I'm going to have to, when you and I make our picks here towards the end of this podcast, I'm going to be leaning towards Paul and Jeremy just because their head's in the right place.
Well, hopefully Jeremy's not guaranteed yet. So,
well, Jeremy's doing Christmas trivia priorities. At least he's not studying for some test or doing some work project. That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Getting back from Italy. Who goes to Italy during football season, Colin? Save that shit for March.
That's off-season travel.
Yeah. Jesus.
All right. With that, let's actually go ahead and jump into a couple of these matchups while we hold off on Jeremy here. And then when he logs on, we'll go ahead and jump over to some questions with him.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just point out some of the less important matchups because they don't really impact anything. So Jeremy and Walker. Ty, you got a pick in that one?
Jeremy.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Chris and you also can't really disrupt the standings. Chris is locked into the consolation. You are locked into the bottom four at this point.
True.
If by some miracle Boyer and Duo both win this week and you lose, you would be naked, but you have the points to beat either of them. So that would have to be a pretty special scenario.
Right. So as long as both of them don't win, I'm okay.
Yeah. That.
So I'm gonna have to just go with my gut here and say that Chris is gonna win.
Yeah, I got Chris too.
So.
And then Duo and Charlie and Fryer and Boyer, I think, are the other ones that are pretty easy to talk about.
Yeah. So, Fryer's going to beat Boyer. I don't think we even have to dive into that one either, right?
No, we shouldn't have to.
Okay. And then Charlie will beat the Duo.
Yeah. So looking at projections this week right now, Boyer's sitting on 76. Duo sitting on 84. Boyer is currently less than 5 points ahead of Duo. So assuming that they both lose, it's going to come down to the points tiebreaker. Jeremy!
What's
hey, baby.
Up, buddy? Just you and me?
Ty's here too.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. I was praying that I wouldn't be here either.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
You need some more time, or are you good?
No, I'm good. I'm gonna do it while
All
we're driving though.
What's that?
I'm gonna do it while I'm driving.
Whatever it takes. Just don't do anything stupid like getting pulled over.
Drunk,
No, I just got
distracted,
pulled over.
driving. Good.
I just got pulled over,
Oh, perfect.
so we're good.
Now that you got it out of the way, you should be fine.
I do this thing where I host bar trivia, and they want me to stay and drink, so I do for a little bit. Then I'm like, no, I gotta drive home. So I'm heading home now.
So instead of a what are you drinking, since you're driving, what were you drinking? What was your beer choice at the bar?
This is not a partner. This is not a sponsor as well. Smashcraft Brewing, and it was their Blood Orange IPA.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It sounds up my alley.
Yeah.
So
I got a trivia question for you guys. That is a sports related question for your podcast.
All right, let's hear it.
Go ahead.
Name a professional NFL quarterback that is from Santa Claus, Indiana. Christmas related thing, you know?
I see the Christmas related there. From Santa Claus, Indiana.
This feels like, is he a current quarterback?
He is recently not a current quarterback in the last few years.
Phillip Rivers.
It's a guess. That is a guess.
That's all I got.
Tyler?
Trent Dilfer.
That is further than recent, in my opinion. Correct answer is, I'm disappointed in Andy, as he's a Bears quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Jay Cutler.
Really? I did not know that.
There you go. So, all right, we can continue here.
Well, that was fun.
That
I'm not
was
sure
fun.
what the hell just happened.
So,
Cool.
Jeremy, how are you feeling about your team going into playoffs?
Honestly, it is. I'm excited for the team. You know, seeing this week of Joe Mixon going down makes me a little, not going down, but
Yeah, it must be a Reed Brothers thing.
Made me a little nervous. Zeke has not played well, so I'd say my running backs scare me. Plus, he's got the schedule for the front of the year. So if I can get a moderate performance out of Zeke and Mixon, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, I think Pollard going down helps Zeke a little bit, and then obviously getting Murray back and having him look good is killer for your team at just the right time. So I think you're in a good spot. Playoff teams are tough this year, though.
They are. I would say that there's some I fear and there's some I don't.
That's fair. Let's talk about that. Who do you think has the best chance to knock you out?
I've been a believer, and I still am a believer in Paul. I think Paul is the scariest team in the playoffs, and I think that I am lucky to be the 1 seed, likely, assuming I win, over Walker next week. And Paul likely being, my hope is a 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm betting on. I projected it.
Yeah, because if
So
you're the
I'm
1 seed, you play the loser of him and Colin, which is tough.
I would rather play Colin because I'm in the same boat as you, Andy. I don't believe in Cordero Patterson no matter what. He can do every week, and I still think it'll be the week that he messes up.
Yeah, I am patiently awaiting for that week because it's not happened yet.
It's coming. It is coming.
So we'll see. Hopefully it comes in the playoffs because I'm sick of being wrong.
I'm on the same page.
So Paul just got off, and Paul also said you were the scariest team, so he didn't want to play you. So
I think that me and Paul, I don't want to play Paul. He doesn't want to play me. Tyler, we had a pact, and you're not there with us.
I am not. I am nowhere near it.
Fryer might be.
Yeah, so that's another question. Do you think Fryer is going to end up in, or do you think Robbie's going to end up in?
Well, I thought Andy would beat Boyer last week. But yes, I still think Andy will beat Robbie, even though he's let me down the last week.
I have let me down more than just last week. So
Although, hold on. I do love that Boyer beat Andy. So this naked race becomes a lot more
that is
interesting.
Fun. That is fun.
It is a 12-point race. I mean, it could be either
5
way.
points,
And Tyler,
right?
If the illogical happens, they both win.
Oh, no,
You're
it is
naked.
12. I was wrong earlier when I said 5 points. Jeremy's right. It's 12. I was looking at something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I am up close to 100 points. So if they both win, I could be in trouble. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, Boyer would have to beat
wasn't-
Fryer, which is a pretty tall order, and then Duo would also have to beat Charlie, which is also a tall order.
Well, if Duo or Boyer beating Andy was a tall order, so I wouldn't count it up.
Not as tall as beating Fryer. Fryer seems far better than mine is right now, and they're hot.
Yeah, but you scored more points on the year. I don't think it's like crazy to think that you're up there too.
No, but with Fryer having Kittle and Connor, and he's got guys doing it right now, and most of my team is either decent or gone.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this, that part of me wants Duo to lose. Part of me likes the exciting, I don't want to root against the 12th team. I've been rooting for the 12th team for so long. It's hard to root against the 12th team, So
I don't feel like the Duo's a 12th team anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that. They are pretty.
2 years though.
You should start cheering for me then, because I feel like I'm the 12th team anymore.
Hell, you made the playoffs more than me.
That's true, Jeremy. So let's talk about that. The last time you were in playoffs was 2015. You and your boy Fryer were in the third, fourth matchup. You got fourth, which makes you the only team in the league never to go higher than fourth place. How's that feel?
Andy, I wish you would have, but you did not put in a caveat there.
I know you
Yeah,
guys only
remember
played
the-
your kickers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah, that's not
if
true. We
that's
played
how
the
you want to
defense
gamble your
first.
money, I'm going to call out the results. I'm not going to call out you being dumb in the middle.
You're correct. But I want to put myself, sadly, I want to put myself in the same boat as Fryer. So, that was the year he had what? You guys remember Tim Hightower?
Oh, yeah.
It was a year. So, again, I feel like I'm unexperienced, and I feel as if this is bad side of me, but I feel like if I can somehow win week 1, I will win the championship. But I don't have faith in myself. I think I'm going to be in the third and fourth place game, and I'm going to get fourth place. And I'll never finish the top 3 ever in my life.
Well, you haven't yet, so you're doing it.
I know. This is
So-
what 11th year? Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, it's not even a We've got a sample size. It's over. I'm going to get fourth.
So I got a question for you too. You're still doing it, so I'm going to ask about it. You're still holding 3 defenses.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm sorry, Tyler. Are you in the playoffs? Are you in the playoffs with your 1 defense? Interesting. No, I think what I've done here is Tampa Bay has a great schedule for the playoffs. New England's one of the hottest defenses. I'm not going to give
They're a
either
good
one of those up,
defense.
especially with New England having some easy matchups too. And I did pick up a third defense last week of not having good matchups. To me, this is the point of the year where you start your starters,
Mm-hmm.
and if your starters, like, you don't need players, you drop them and you get defenses or people that you think will be in your lineup the next few weeks. And for me, I have 3 defenses that should be in my lineup the next 3 weeks, but I could drop one and pick up a potential keeper for next year. That's correct.
There's not a ton of those out there, but I completely agree. Having been in the playoffs, at this point, I want to know who my starters are. I want to have handcuffs in place should anything happen. And then I want 2 or 3 defenses because I'm looking ahead to 2 or 3 weeks from now, making sure that I've got my stuff picked up because I don't want to be caught with my pants down, not having enough fab budget to get the guy that I want the week of. I think you're right, Jay. That's what you want.
Agreed. You want, and Andy always talks to us, you want players in your starting lineup.
Yeah,
Andy
exactly.
said it before, and right now I'm playing for my starting lineup for the next few weeks.
Because the way that Jeremy and Fryer have constructed their lineup, they have exactly what they need, but not this excess of riches like Paul has. Like, if you look at Paul's bench, Paul's got DK Metcalf, he's got AJ Dillon, he's got Dallas Goedert, he's got Chuba Hubbard on the bench. Like, Paul's bench is outscoring half the league at this point. He spent a lot of money on his roster this year, and now guys are riding the pine that really don't need to be. So he costs himself money next year, but also he can't drop those guys to be a week or two ahead in the defense. He is holding 2 defenses right now, but it just makes things a little bit trickier when you don't have those really quick, expendable guys. He's got Corey Davis. He could drop Corey Davis easy, but it just makes life a little bit more hectic. And then you just have to play matchups and hope that you guess right. And there's a lot of guessing wrong. You sleep good at night when you have a starting lineup locked in. You got handcuffs, and then you got your defense. So you can play matchups there.
Exactly. Thank you, Brother Stuford.
So, Jeremy, you're riding my strategy, and I'm pulling for you, bud.
Usually I don't follow Andy's strategy, but this time I'm following it. I listen.
You're winning. That's my
I'm
strategy.
winning. Yeah, I've never done this before. It's weird.
It was mostly a question because you had traded for defenses early and you've been holding defenses for a while. So I just figured I'd throw it out there.
I've also, for the record, I've never finished the regular season as the 1 seed. So
I don't know if I have either.
actually, you may not have. I'm not positive there.
I've been wild of the 7 years I've made playoffs. I think I've been wild card in 5 of them. So I may not have.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited.
So
As you should be. I'm proud of you.
You want to give us some so did we touch on Robbie or Fryer making the playoffs?
Yeah, I think he picked Fryer.
Yeah. Fryer win.
Yep.
Okay. So with that scenario, I know that you said you're probably going to lose week 1 because that's what you're banking on. Do you have playoff predictions for us?
I do. I'm happy to predict. Sorry, did my screen go away?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, you're good.
I just assumed you passed a cop and needed to shut it off.
No. My prediction is that Fryer is in the playoffs, and Fryer will play
Paul.
the winner of the middle division. So Paul.
Right.
I take Paul to beat Fryer, although I like Fryer's team. I think it'll be Paul and Colin, the middle division. And I think Paul finally pulls out his first championship.
That's exciting.
So.
All right.
Well, I will say if Fryer is the one that comes out of the top division here, then 3 of the 4 teams in the playoffs have never won a championship yet. Colin would be the only one in line for a potential second time being on the trophy here. So Robbie also fits that bill. But yeah, I'm always cheering for the newbies because I want to I want to spread the wealth, but B, my name being on there 4 times and everybody else being only once feels pretty good. So keep that going.
You don't want to spread the wealth if you're in the championship, but now that you're not.
Jeremy and Fryer, those poor guys have earned something just by their patience.
For the record, I do have a better career record than Tyler and Walker, who both have one. So let's just hold that to account. I just can't win the big game.
Yeah.
You can't get to the big game.
You're correct. You're correct. But at least I have normal seasons. So
that's fair. I have good seasons every 6 years, so I'm bound to have one next year.
Roughly.
Yep.
So, all right. Anything else from you, Jay?
Nope. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I wish all the other managers except for Colin good luck in the playoffs.
All right. Fair enough. Good luck, Jay. We'll see you soon.
Good luck, Jay. Thanks for coming.
Hey, boys. See you guys.
See you.
So on that note, real quick, I pulled up our all-time best finishes, and I think this is an interesting note, and I can rib on him a bit because he took the night off. So there are 3 teams only 3 in the history of the league to never make it to a championship game. Jeremy, who got 4th place in his only playoff appearance in 2015. Yep. Fryer, who got 3rd place in his only appearance in the playoffs in 2015 against Jeremy. And Boyer, who has made the playoffs 5 times. Boyer has never sniffed a championship matchup. So everybody else has at least been there.
Which is crazy.
Isn't it? Even Cody went to a championship. What are you doing, Boyer? Get your shit together.
Yeah. Thanks, Cody. Love you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Duo's been there and done that, and they've been in the league for all. This is their third year,
Right.
so granted they're sniffing naked right now, which
That's
some
true.
teams haven't done that either.
Yeah, there are a few that haven't done that. So we do have a couple matchups left to look at. We don't have to spend too much time on them, but
Nope.
me versus Robbie, I think, is probably the second closest matchup and not quite as exciting as Paul and Colin. So we can do that one first. Ty, what are your thoughts here?
I mean, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon are just ridiculous right now. The both of them were top 5 running backs last week together. So I don't. I mean, if they can keep getting them the ball, I like your Chubb Williams combo. I mean, there's a couple spots on that team that I'm not thrilled about. But looking over at Robbie's team, I mean, I think Cooper's kind of touchdown dependent. Mooney is big play dependent. I mean, he had 27 yards 2 weeks ago, 19 last week on 1 catch.
Yeah, but the 2 weeks before that, he was over 120 both games. So
Right,
you're right. He's big boomer bust.
But he and in those 2 games, he only had 5 touches, right?
Yep.
So 5 touches for 120 yards.
Yeah, that's the wild thing is 5 catches for 121, 5 catches for 123, 5 catches for 27, and then last week just 1.
Yeah, so I really don't know what to do about that, right?
Yeah, Minnesota is real bad against wide receivers, though their secondary is awful. So I expect Mooney to have a nice, solid game against Minnesota on Monday night. I'm kind of annoyed that I'm going to have to sweat this one out when we get to Monday night because Robbie's got Thielen and Mooney, and I'll be done. I'll be done after the 3 o'clock games. So we'll see. Hopefully I can build up a bit of a lead there. But I like my Herbert and Williams combo on Thursday night against Kansas City. You said Javonte's been on fire. You know, obviously Javonte had the big game, 23, almost 24 points when Melvin Gordon was down. But their 3 games since they came out of the bye, he's been over 17 fantasy points in all 3 of them. So I'm not super worried about Melvin Gordon. I'd love to see Javonte get the ball more, but even just with what he's doing, he's been doing it. So
yep.
I like my odds here. I'm gonna pick me.
Yeah. So I think the biggest factor to this game is that Tampa Bay versus New Orleans game with Leonard Burnett. Leonard Burnett has put up 37, 15, and 19 over the last 3 weeks. And if he does that in that 20-point range, I think I'm going to take Robbie. But I still don't. As good as Fournette's been this year, for whatever reason, I just don't feel like he's a great start every week, which he is.
Right.
But he's just one of those guys that I'm just like, he's in the lineup, right?
Yep, not for nothing. The Saints have allowed the fewest fantasy points to running backs so far this year. And like I mentioned before, I think we see Fournette, not to say that he couldn't catch a touchdown, but I think we see Fournette get a little bit away from the rushing touchdowns. He's got 8 on the year, but I think that we're getting into Brady record chasing time. So that should kind of cut down the likelihood of a Fournette touchdown there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. But like I said, if Fournette can score 20 plus, I think Robbie can beat you.
For sure.
Being that they play the Saints, being that it's a tough run defense, I am going to take you for this week with Chubb and Williams, especially with Hunt out. Mm-hmm. Chubb should get a larger workload as well.
Yep. And I don't like either of his quarterback matchups this week. Wilson against the Rams or Burrow against the Broncos. Both are tough matchups, which is going to hurt. And then he's got Higbee dealing with COVID stuff, maybe. He got activated off the COVID list today. So should be okay, but still, Higbee's not great. Not that Dalton Schultz did anything last week either, but I don't know. It
Right.
should be close and probably ugly. So let's talk about teams that actually know what the hell they're doing. You want to talk about Colin and Paul since you actually have a second screen to look at and break this down for us?
Yeah. So I'll run through. We'll run through lineups real quick. I don't think there's a whole lot of lineup decision, but we'll talk about it. So in probably the closest matchup of the week, Colin has Stafford, Diggs, Hopkins, Najee Harris, Jonathan Taylor's back this week. He's got Darren Waller in the lineup right now, but I'm not even sure if that's going to happen. Cordero Patterson, Justin
Who's that
Tucker,
guy?
Arizona defense. He's got Noah Fant as a second tight end.
Which is not bad.
Well, no, it's not bad. What do you think about Waller? Do you think he's going to play this week? Do you think
He's still not practicing? It's been a
Right.
few weeks. It's looking not good for him. So I think he's probably going to have to play Fant.
Okay. So then it's all right. So this one's kind of tough for me, I guess. I get you play your studs, and Hopkins plays Detroit this week. So you have to play Hopkins, right?
Man, Hopkins, like, since
he's undergoing a leg MRI today.
yeah, he should be fine. I don't think they're
right.
actually concerned as more precautionary.
That's what it sounds like.
And he had 12 targets this week. That was his most targets on the year. So you can't be mad about that.
He only caught 5 though.
I know.
And
But the
one of them
Rams
was,
defense is good and the Lions are not.
one of them was right off of his hands. I don't, because my problem is, can you play? I would even argue Ayuk at this point, but if Mitchell comes back and Debo goes outside, Ayuk may lose some work on the outside. So I don't know that I'd start Ayuk, but Waddle would almost be my argument here.
Yeah, for sure.
They play the Jets. Waddle has had 8 catches, 9 catches, 65 yards, 137 yards, and 90 yards, and a touchdown. So, I mean, he's put up 12, 19, and 9 over the last 3 weeks. Waddle's been pretty consistent. Is there any consideration on Waddle or Ayuk over Hopkins?
So I'm looking, this is a tough one to break down because everywhere that Colin's not great, Paul is good. And everywhere that Paul isn't quite so good, Colin is. So,
Right.
you know, it's hard to just kind of match these teams up in my head because it's like, well, Colin's running backs are way better than Paul's, but Paul's receivers are way better than Colin's. And, you know, we could go on and on. But Waddle gets a shit ton of volume, and with Colin being a heavy favorite in all but the worst of matchups for him, Waddle would be a strong play. That said, Paul is one of the scariest teams in the league. I don't know that you can just go for a guy who you're like, well, he's going to get me 9 catches for 75, 80 yards and probably not a touchdown. I don't think you want that.
Right.
And, you know, the other options that Colin has, I don't feel like they're swinging for the fences, and in the sense that like you're going to swing and miss. I would play Hollywood. Hollywood's got 107 targets and 70 catches on the year for 866 and 6 touchdowns. I think I like Hollywood. Do
you like Hollywood with Jackson possibly not playing?
That's a good point. If Jackson doesn't play, I don't think I can do it. But
Jair Alexander should be back this week. He was out last week, but I think he should be back.
Yeah, that does make a difference too. I think if Jackson's playing, my assumption is that he's healthy enough that he'll be okay, but that he's also not going to be running as much, which makes me want to play Hollywood even more.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ayuk has that explosiveness.
They do play Atlanta, the Niners do, which Atlanta's been halfway decent lately, but they've been winning shootout games, not defensive games.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. The nice thing is none of these guys is like, well, I want to play Robbie Anderson because I want to swing for the fences against Paul. It's like, okay, well, this guy's going to get me 5 points, but he could get me 20 instead of this guy's going to get me 1 point, but he could give
Or-
me 12.
right,
You know,
right.
like Colin's in a good spot. He's got a lot of good options. It's just a matter of picking the best one. And I feel like Waddle has a lot less variance, and Ayuk has a lot more variance. And Hollywood's kind of that middle ground where I feel like there's a decent floor, but also that upside of, you know, the long touchdowns that comes with being Hollywood Brown. So
Right.
that's the way I lean, because I feel like it's a little bit the best of both worlds, but it's tough. I'm not
Yeah.
excited about Hopkins right now. I'll say that. I would make a move away from Hopkins.
Okay. And it's hard because we always say play your studs, but I don't know that Hopkins is a stud right now.
Nope.
So
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I'm playing Patterson. I like Patterson better than Waddle, better than Hollywood, better than Ayuk, because look at what Patterson's doing. At this point, fuck it. You got to play Patterson. I don't understand, guys.
right. I don't understand. All right, let's move over to Paul's team. I've talked enough about Colin. We would have talked more about him, but he didn't want to show up because he got back from Italy or something. But anyway.
I don't
so
think he's
Paul-
mad about that.
No, I'm sure he's not. So Paul's got Josh Allen right now. Questionable, but I'm assuming he's going to play. He's got Debo and Kupp, the best wide receivers in the game. Antonio Gibson and Elijah Mitchell, which Elijah should be back this week. Gronkowski, Aaron Jones in the flex. Gay at kicker, San Francisco against Atlanta at defense. We did talk a little bit about Paul's team being super deep, having all these options. But really, you're not going to start A.J. Dillon over anybody. You're not going to start at this point Chuba Hubbard against Buffalo over any of these options. Corey Davis is IR. DK Metcalf we talked about. That's not an option we really want to play this week. It's not a bad play if Debo or Kupp doesn't play, but it's not somebody you're throwing in the lineup right now.
Yeah, since the bye week in week 9, DK has topped out at 5 catches and 60 yards. He has 0 touchdowns in those 5 games. So,
right. So defense, he does have the Rams on his bench against Seattle or San Fran against Atlanta. Both of those are really good matchups.
mm-hmm.
Do you have a preference there, or either way is okay?
So I feel like Russ is going to get sacked quite a bit in general, but the turnovers are less frequent there. Whereas I feel like there's been quite a few turnovers out of Atlanta this year. I think Atlanta's given up the 2nd or 3rd most points to fantasy defenses. So I'm leaning towards the Niners because of the playing at Atlanta.
Okay, fair enough. I would lean in the same way, especially if Penny can get going again and really be able to open up some doors for Russ. I think that'll be helpful. I don't know that it's going to happen against the Rams defense, but they finally had a run game, and that's definitely going to help Russ if they can get that going again.
Yeah, for sure.
So the other question would be Dallas Goedert or Gronkowski.
I gotta go Gronk. Gronk's been getting volume that I haven't expected these last couple of weeks, which makes me feel more comfortable starting him. I think going into the season, we expected Goddard to be getting peppered with targets, and Gronk was maybe going to catch touchdowns if he was healthy. But seeing these last couple of weeks, I think make me feel like Gronk is a top tier tight end because of volume at this point, not just touchdowns. I mean, you look at his last 4 games, 8 targets, 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets, and he's been putting up 58 plus yards in every game. It's not 24 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's production that you can rely on. So I feel good about starting Gronk.
Yeah, and the only, well, I'm not gonna say the only reason, but because I've talked about how much I don't like the Philly offense a lot this year. But they do get Washington, and then they get the Giants, and then they get Washington again. And those are all going to be good matchups for Goddard. So I'm not mad about having to play Goddard any of the next 3 weeks.
For sure. And you never know what's going to happen with Gronk. That guy could get hurt in a lot of different ways.
And Gronk has New Orleans this week, which is probably his toughest matchup. Then he's got Carolina and the Jets. So really, you could go either way with either of these tight ends for the next 3 weeks, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So with that, there's really nothing else we're going to pick there. Who do you have winning this one? Paul took himself. Jeremy's got Paul. Who you got?
So I think Colin has the edge at running back clearly. He's got Najee and Taylor. The Waller injury's hurting him a lot, trying to keep up with some of these playoff teams. And then some of the muddied waters at receiver, and then looking across the aisle to see Paul starting number 1 and number 2, Cup and Debo. I think that's more than Colin can make up, even with the second coming of Christ, Cordero Patterson. I just don't think that he has enough to do it. And that's not to mention the disparity at quarterback with Stafford versus Allen. Although Allen's banged up, so maybe that doesn't matter as much. But I like Paul's team top to bottom, and I feel like the only spots that Colin has the advantage is running back, which is a pretty solid advantage.
Yeah.
And then maybe kicker and defense, but those are not. I mean, those fluctuate so much that I just feel like Paul's got him everywhere else, and that's going to be more than enough to get him the win. So I'm going Paul.
Okay. I'm also going to take Paul in this one. You want to do a quick rundown of who Boyer took?
Yep. Boyer picked the same as you and I for every matchup, except he picked you to beat Chris. My
right.
guess is that he was just looking real quick at the projections and saw that Chris hadn't fully set his lineup yet or something, because it looked close for a little bit today. And he probably thought, oh, well, Ty's only a 4-point underdog. I could pick him to win. But I don't think you're going to win, bud.
No, Chris still has Hawkinson out that he's going to put in over Foster Moreau. I mean, granted, I got Pittman that I'm probably going to put in. If Swift come back, he's going to go in over one of these running backs.
Yeah, Chris is also going to move Melvin Gordon in for Osborne, probably, assuming that Gordon's good to go. So he's got a couple of ways to make his team look better. And
right.
You might. Is Swift going to play this week, Ty?
They're saying there's a possibility. So, I mean, granted, it's against Arizona.
There's a chance.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to throw him out there against Arizona full workload. But if they do and Swift comes back and Singletary can be decent, or Moss could be decent, whichever one I decide to go with. And I mean, my wide receivers aren't awful. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not expecting a win. But, yeah. I mean, it could definitely be better. I'm going to start Gesicki over Ricky Seals-Jones, which is going to give me a little upgrade.
Right.
So, I mean,
you're probably not going to be as bad this week.
Right. My team's not that bad, but Chris's team is still better.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. So, all right. So, real quick, give us Boyer's naked prediction.
Oh, so Boyer thinks that he and Duo are both going to lose, but that Duo is going to cover the 12 points that they need to keep their pants on and force Boyer to take the nudie photos. I don't think that I agree with that. I think that they both lose. I think that they're both not good, but I think that Boyer is going to lose that race.
You think Boyer is going to lose the race?
Yeah, I think that the 12 points is too much for. No, I'm sorry. Duo's
Boyer's going to win.
Yeah, Boyer's going to win.
Boyer's not. The duo is not going to cover the spread.
Yeah, thank you for cleaning me up there. Because 12 points is a lot for one of these two teams to cover in a week. Sometimes they barely score 12 points, so that's a tall order.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think 12 is just enough for Boyer to stay ahead.
Yep.
And then I'm up 100 points on the duo, so I'm not even considering myself in the race at this point. But there is still that slim chance, like Jeremy said, that if Duo and Boyer both win and I lose, then just
there's a shot there. Yeah.
Fuck me in that situation, No,
thank you.
Well, you might get more photos.
I didn't get the first photos. I just got to see them for a little bit.
I know. I tried to find them earlier for you, but they disappeared off me and Jeremy's text message, so I don't know.
Terrible.
We'll figure it out. So, all right. Well, with that, Chris, you suck. Robbie, Fryer, and Colin, I hate you guys this week just because you didn't want to show up and talk to us. Everybody else, win, lose, tie, do whatever you got to do. Good luck in fantasy, or good luck in playoff this week or in the coming weeks. And we'll catch you next week with hopefully all three of us. See ya.
See ya.